Hi there everyone, thanks for joining me today. One of the places where leaders are most under the microscope is when they are giving feedback to their team members. Now, feedback doesn't have to be complicated or complex. It's actually very simple. You need to keep three things in mind. The first thing is you need to be specific. You need to be talking about the specific instance that you are giving feedback, whether it's positive feedback or negative feedback about. It's easier to apply what it is that the lesson is from that particular piece of feedback, and it also just is less wiggle room for denial. If you are doing general feedback on somebody in regards to their performance, there's usually some wiggle room or some gray area which they can work in defensiveness and not take it as much to heart. But if you're very specific, then they take it to heart. After being specific, the second thing that you want to do is be timely. Feedback loses its value the longer it takes to give that particular feedback. If you give immediate feedback, it has the most value and the most impact on the person, and you're more likely to have them take it to heart and change their behavior based on it. However, if you give feedback a week later, 2 weeks later, a month later, well then it's lost all of its value because it couldn't have possibly been that important because you waited so long to tell them about it. And that's exactly what goes through their heads. So be specific, be timely, and you also need to mix the feedback. It needs to be positive feedback and negative feedback. You can't just call somebody into your office to give them bad news. We've almost all had those bosses where we knew when somebody was in trouble because they got called into the boss's office. Likewise, you can't always be giving that negative feedback out there in the world in person because then people are going to dread what you have to say. It makes it easier to give that negative feedback if you mix it with the positive feedback and the things that are going right. So be specific in your feedback, be timely in your feedback, and make sure that you have a great mix of good, positive feedback and bad, negative, and constructive feedback. Thanks. Have a good one, everyone.